In this video, we will learn how to convert paper worksheets into fully digital assignments. Paper worksheets are such an integral part of instruction and review, but the countless hours spent scanning, printing, distributing, collecting, grading, and managing all that paper can leave very little time for teaching. How about having paper worksheets work exactly like digital worksheets, available on student devices, automatically graded, and with immediate feedback? Wouldn't that ease educator workload and be a great time saver? In-document assessments enable you to transform any paper or online worksheet into a fully digital assessment. By overlaying digital controls directly on the worksheet, we are able to create the experience of working on a fully digital assignment. Let's dive in now and see how we can make this magic work. You'll need the Annotate Web Annotations Chrome extension installed on both teacher and student devices. Students will also need to have accounts on Annotate. You can access the direct link in the video description below and also on our downloads page. Please note this feature is available for both free and pro accounts. With your worksheet open, click More Options on the Annotate toolbar and then click Questions to access the Questions Input toolbar. Please note that the worksheet also needs to be accessed by students, so you should store it in a shared drive or on the web. As we are creating an in-document assessment where students are going to be responding on the worksheet itself, flip the in-document switch to on. Now we are able to insert response placeholders into the document. In-document questions can be inserted in two ways: image capture or text input. Image capture mode lets you use the questions in the worksheet, while text input mode lets you use your own questions and add them to an existing document in the available white space. Capture mode questions are only supported for PDFs, while text input questions are available for all document types. As our worksheet already has questions, let's go ahead and use capture mode for the initial few questions. You can use the automatic recognition tool to mark out questions and response areas for multiple choice questions. Click to select automatic question detection. Confirm that the selected question type matches the question in the worksheet, which is multiple choice in this case. Then you can simply drag to mark out the questions and the responses. The system will also detect and put text markers and response controls around the question content. Click to select the correct response so that the student responses may be auto-graded. By default, the system will also capture the alphabetic identifiers for the choices. We don't need those because the Annotate Assessment Player will automatically do that. We can use a trim tool to strip away the response sequence markers. Click the trim tool to exclude the sequence markers from the capture. And now we have an interactive question in the worksheet. Let's try it for the next question. Next, let's get familiar with the Question Creator user interface. When you click to select a question, the Question Creation toolbar will show up. Question type lets you switch between different question types. You can switch from multiple choice to checkbox and back. The default point value of a question is 1. You can use the points drop-down menu to change it to another value. Next is the trim tool, which we just used a bit earlier. Use Add Option to add additional choice markers to your question in case the question has more than 4 choices. Use Delete next to the last choice to delete it. If the subsequent questions follow a similar layout, just use the Copy tool to clone the template and match it to the next question. Click Delete on the toolbar to delete the question. Click Close to deselect the question and hide the toolbar. All right, now let's go ahead and use the Auto Detect tool for the next few questions. And be sure to mark the correct response after the question has been captured. Now that we have the auto capture the first few multiple choice questions, we can try and capture questions manually. Click Auto Capture to exit automatic capture mode. Then click to select multiple choice on the question selection toolbar. The question and the response placeholders will now become visible. Click to place them on the question, and use the drag handle on the question statement marker to fully cover the question content. As you can see, the responses are arranged in 2 columns, but the response placeholders are only in a single column. We can use the layout tool to fix this. Go ahead, click Layout Selection dropdown and select a 2-column horizontal layout. The response markers should switch to a 2-column layout now. Drag to position them over the responses, and then use the sizing controls to approximately cover the responses. Once you're done, use the trim tool to achieve a tight fit of the boundary markers within the content. Let's continue with a few more questions. The next one is a true-false question. Select true-false on the toolbar. Next, mark up the question area. Then use the layout tool to change the orientation of the radio buttons to horizontal. Now, drag to position them next to the choices. As we already have true and false printed on the worksheet, we can use the trim tool to hide the choices for the radio buttons. Select the correct answer for the question, and you're done. Follow the same steps for the next question, which is a yes/no question. Finally, let's go ahead and add an open-ended question to the worksheet. In order to do this, you'll need to switch the mode from capture to text input. Then, select short answer question on the toolbar and click to place the controls on the worksheet. Type in the question and a sample answer. Then, use the controls to adjust the size and the placement of the question. Now that we've marked up all the questions, go ahead and save your work to your Annotate account. If the content that you're using is copyrighted, make sure to enter the copyright owner and information inside. When you save the questions to your account, the system will also create a fully digital assessment using the questions you've marked up. You can access the questions by clicking the Assessment Floating Action button on the bottom right of the document. The interactive question dialog box will open, showing all the questions that we've captured from the document. I want to take a moment to show you that you have the flexibility of using these questions in a standard Annotate assessment. Click Collapse to minimize the questions and then drag to select all or just a subset of the questions. Then go ahead and click Copy on the Selection toolbar. Close the Questions dialog box and then open a notebook from your Annotate web account. Navigate to where you want the assessment to be and paste to have your questions in your notebook. This can be incredibly useful when your worksheet is stored in a location that's not accessible to students or is locked behind a paywall. We are now ready to use the worksheet with students. Use the Floating Assessment button to open up the questions view. Verify that all the questions have been captured and their correct responses are set. Click Ask Now and select the course where you would like to use this worksheet. The rest of the settings are the same as you used in regular assessments, so that should all be familiar. Now go ahead and click Take Assessment to assign the worksheet to your students. If students are logged into their account, they will get a notification that a new assessment is now available for their response. Alternatively, they can go to the Activities tab of the course and launch the worksheet from there. On the teacher side, the view will shift from the Questions tab to the Scores tab. The Scores tab shows a live view of student activity as they respond to each of your questions. Students can use the forward and back buttons to navigate across questions. They are also able to launch a fully digital assessment by clicking the Assessments button. At any point, they can close the assessment window and continue working on the page. Once they are done, they can click Submit and make their responses available to you for grading. Click End when you would like to end the assessment and review student performance. End activity also forces a submission of all pending student responses for grading. As student responses are now available to you, you can grade any short answer or open-ended questions that were not graded by the system. Navigate to the Items Analysis tab to see an analysis of how your students performed. All the assessments and student performance data is now within easy access from right within your Annotate web account. Navigate to the Course tab of any course, where all that published content is listed. notebooks, and web annotations that have interactive questions within them will now show the assessment icon on the top right corner. Click the icon to bring up the assessment for that file, including student performance data and item analysis reports. We truly hope this new feature helps you earn some time back and some energy so you can focus on what you love doing the most, teaching. As always, please share your comments, suggestions, and anything else on how we can make this feature work even better and make it more useful for teachers just like yourself.